Hey there, I'm Anthony Romano, and the title of this video is A 10-Year Keto Dieter's Take on the Carbohydrate Insulin Obesity Model. Okay, so basically, this is the stance that most, keto gurus will throw at you when you're trying to research information about keto. Okay, so they will tell you that the only thing that determines weight loss and, body composition is your insulin. Now, this is true for a lot of things, but in my opinion, it's only one side of the coin, and I will explain this to you in this video because basically, this can be misleading for a lot of people. So I encourage you to stay to the end because I'm going to throw out some amazing tips that help you fit the puzzle all together if you stay till the end. On that note, if you could like the video, that's going to make YouTube show my content to more people. All you have to do to help me grow my page. Let's get into this. So, the insulin obesity model. This is a model of fat loss and basically body composition that primarily entails that once you have an insulin spike, you are going to store fat, okay? Because insulin, the most anabolic hormone in the body, is permissive of fat storage. It's like a key that opens the door so that you can store fuel. And this also goes for building muscle. Insulin is a very powerful anabolic hormone in the sense of the word anabolic, meaning building anything, okay? Muscle, fat, doesn't matter. Now, as somebody who's been doing keto for a decade since I was 14, you would think that I would be firmly stood in this camp of insulin obesity model, but I actually only think it's one side of the coin. It only shows us one piece of the puzzle, okay? So the view I like to take is one that merges all these other diets that we know work and extracts out the commonalities between them. So, example, calorie diets, if it fits your macros, PE diet with Dr. Naiman, all these other approaches. I have over the years come to a viewpoint where I think I have, a model that kind of at least explains why some things work and where the overlaps are. So I challenge any of you to, help me get to the bottom of this, and, I'd happily have a discussion with you down below. But I personally think this model is the one that integrates everything and shows you why things work and why they don't work. So when does this sort of insulin obesity model work and when doesn't it work, right? Well, I always say in the beginning of a keto diet, you are best to do it high fat because that's going to help you adapt and that's going to help you get used to, more stable blood sugar because the saturated fats and other fats are going to stabilize your sugar. And keep in mind, the key rule for keto is the absence of carbohydrates. It is not the presence of those fats. Those fats will just help fuel you and you will feel better as a result of having more ketone production, more energy coming in, okay? The only thing required for keto is no carbs. Okay, high fat approaches are simply the way to achieve certain therapeutic benefits, minimize inflammation. People with epilepsy, we've had studies on that since the 20s. Okay, so the high fat keto approach is a great way to lower insulin, but it doesn't exclude out the fact that you're consuming loads of fats, which are very calorically dense. So, you can maximize it's a hormonal approach, okay? And by doing keto, where you're minimizing your sugar and minimizing insulin, keeping it as low as it can go and stable, you're going to achieve hormonal-based fat loss because the absence of insulin is going to trigger the release of glucagon, which is going to mobilize fuels into your bloodstream, okay? It's going to put the onus on your body to start liberating fuel, right? Mobilizing it. So that's what insulin reductions are going to do for you, especially if you throw in some fasted exercise. The, fat-burning properties of cortisol are going to liberate more fuel. So there's a lot of other ways that you can approach fat loss hormonally. But the thing is, this insulin obesity model does not take into account the demand of fuel to be burned. So you can eat any calorie amount on it, right? And for a lot of people who are just starting keto, I tell them to take it easy, make it lazy, so it's easy to adhere to. And in the beginning, this is going to be such a hormonal shock to you that you are going to burn body fat while eating at a caloric surplus, perhaps, right? But after a while, your body's going to reach a sort of homeostasis with this new balance of hormones, this new balance of insulin, okay? And you're going to need to leverage the demand on your body by lowering calories or finding some other way to manipulate the total energy coming in. So this is the quantitative side of the coin. Okay, this is the if it fits your macros diets. This is the PE diet. This is all these other approaches that focus on, looking at the total amounts of energy and, manipulating them. So you have to realize both the insulin obesity model and the sort of CICO, calories in, calories out model are just two different ways to gain leverage on your body's fuel economy. That is all these things are. So when I say that the calories in, calories out model is the quantitative side and the insulin obesity model is a hormonal side of the coin, it's basically telling you can either look at the total amount of food you're taking in, or you can take a look at what are the foods going to do to you? What is every single macro going to do to you? Okay, so it's basically an output view or an input view. You can look at what your actions are doing inside your body, what hormonal repercussions they're causing, or you can look at the total amount of fuel, right? Think about building a house, right? If you're building a house, you can either make sure you have enough workers or not enough if you're trying to lose weight, or you can look at the efficiency of every worker. And if every single calorie you're taking in doesn't trigger an insulin spike, it's going to be less likely to cause fat storage. Now, granted, this does not mean insulin is the be-all, end-all. And we know that the only way to store fat is not just insulin, okay? There are other ways you can store fat, but it's simply the primary permissor, or key, that allows you to actually store fat, because it is the most anabolic hormone in the body. So that being said, that's the sort of playing field I'm setting here. And how do you merge these two together? Well, I always say that because any weight loss endeavor is an attempt to gain leverage on your body's fuel economy, for a lot of people, if they're picking to go keto, the best way to start off is in a way that is, making it easy and effortless. So starting off with a balanced keto diet that has enough fats for hormone production during these, carb withdrawals you might be having, enough to give you energy, enough to produce more ketones so you have better brain function, right? There's a lot of other ways that you want to use this sort of model to make things effortless. But at the same time, after a certain point, you're going to plateau. And this is why people talk about the keto plateau. Why? Because they probably were doing it the easy way first, because most people do things the easy way before they do the hard way. And after a while, you need to start, manipulating your macros so that you have a quantitative extra bit of demand, right? Your body is a system, okay? And no system is devoid of the laws of economics. So eventually, after some point, you're going to have to put more demand on your body. And there's loads of ways to do this. Like I actually have in my book, which I haven't even plugged yet in this video, the Keto Shred Program. I have at least dozens of strategies on how to put more demand on your body to maximize fat loss that don't just entail, lower your calories, okay? There's loads of other ways you could put more demand on your body, right? Exercise more. You could eat more. There's loads of other ways you could do this. Fasted cardio, the Cortis Douglas effect. There's so many other tools that are in this book and laid out in a way that actually help you to get diced, whether you're a newbie or a pro with keto. Like seriously, it's a decade of keto coaching and personal experience in one book, romanoketo.com. But the point is, to get the best weight loss results, you have to merge both sides of the coin. So, example, to play out the other end, this is the linchpin of this video. Let's say somebody was doing a calories in, calories out diet, right? After a certain point, they're going to have to do ridiculous amounts of cardio, ridiculous amounts of exercise to put more demand, more hormonal demand on their body. So what I mean by that is, maybe demand isn't the right word, but you're going to have to start playing with some hormonal keys because you've already maximized the quantitative limits, okay? So you can only reduce your calories so little before your body wants a hormonal approach. Example, if you start eating nothing, you're going to be in full-blown ketosis from fasting. So that is the hormonal process where now your body is upregulating fat burning, and that's only achievable when you fully max out the quantitative side. So from there, all these people doing extra bits of cardio, they're trying to burn off the glucose they're putting in so that they can lower their insulin more, right? Because you can only push either side so far before you have to integrate the other. It's like the polarity between the North Pole, South Pole, okay? It's like a magnet, okay? So this is where I'm bringing in the dense philosophical, underpinnings of why I'm so, hardcore confident in this model, because even though I'm not trying to say I have everything figured out, I'm just giving you a playing field to, help work in some of these concepts. So, and nothing in life is devoid of two sides. Nothing is, you can't have day without night. You can't have summer without winter, okay? There's a lot of things that are seasonal, okay? And that is the nature of our existence in a lot of ways. So when we're getting into this calories in, calories out, if it fits your macros diet, these people are always torturing themselves because they can't go to sleep without, gnawing their arm off. So eventually, to make the diet something that's able to be adhered to, they have to take control of some of these qualitative levers. So lowering their carb intake. No professional bodybuilder goes into a peak week without lowering their carbohydrates. Why? Because they know on some level somebody had trickled it down the line that they have to lower the insulin, they have to get better control of their blood sugar, because the diet will not be performable if they do not. So either side is eventually going to have to integrate the other. Keto crowd is eventually going to have to start counting their energy intake, right? My preferred way that I've recommended in other videos is the PE model from Dr. Naiman's a great way, but it's just one way to further manipulate your calories, in your energy net total, not simply just calories. and your expenditure. So, of course, you can also take more of an, if it's your macros, approach of the ketogenic metabolism, but you're either maximizing that hormone insulin or you're maximizing the total amount of energy coming in. So this could be also looked at as a leptin, right? Maximization, because you're looking at the total quantities of energy you're taking in. But either way, you have to merge the two eventually. And that is it for this video. Okay, I've had too much coffee, and this is way too long of a video for this topic. But I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you did, like it, leave me some comments down below. I'd love to discuss this with you, because even though this is just a short enough video, I can only explain these ideas as best as I can. So I'd love to take some advice from some of you, and also at the same time try to refine some of the fine details of my sort of model here. Thank you for watching, and if you know somebody who's, who's bigger in this field and would like to discuss this with me, I'd be happy to. So if you're somebody watching, get in contact with me. And besides that, AnthonyRomano, peace.